Hi, so we all have that friend that's spends way too much time on the PC master race, and talks about the 1080 Ti being the greatest graphics card ever. Uh, so my buddy that I've known for 8 years even went so far as to say that the Titan uh, series cards was better than a 3060, maybe possibly even a 3070, but he definitely said 3060. So we happen to have one of each. We're going to do some testing and see which one is better and see if the Titan X is still a viable option in the uh, 2025 gaming days. So let's run some benchmarks. We'll test out the 3060 first, test out the Titan X next, see how it does. Okay, so the setup that we're running right now for our test rig for both of these is going to be the Ryzen 9600X. Uh, we have two 16 gig sticks of DDR5, I believe at 6400 megahertz, 1 terabyte NVMe SSD. So we're going to be running both of these in the same system. We will be sure to do the DDUs before swapping graphics cards. But yeah, so it should be completely fair. Both of them running the same system, 9600X with 32 gigs of DDR5. So we'll see how this time spy score runs, and we'll go from there. Okay, so we got a time spy score of 8655, which is kind of funny because I ran this test before I started recording or doing any of this, and the score was higher. So I do think when you're running OBS, it does kind of bump those numbers down a little bit. So we're going to try to make sure that we're running both things with OBS at the same time so that we can make sure that everything is staying level. Because I'm pretty sure when I ran it without having OBS on, I was closer to like 9600. So it's like 1,000 point difference. So OBS definitely takes up some of that power on there. So I think we will make sure we have OBS running at the same time that we do both of these. But 8655, it's not horrible. Let's see, we can run Fortnite 1080p 240 frames. Yeah, you're playing games, it's fine. All right, we'll load in one round of Black Ops just to see how that does, just to get a benchmark, and then we'll start messing around with the Titan. All right, so we are running the built-in benchmark for Black Ops right now. We are at 1080p, no upscaling, no nothing. We are running OBS for the entire length of it just so we can make sure that everything's nice and fair. This probably could use some upscaling, some things like that, some frame gen or whatnot. But we just want to see the native ability of these cards. This is looking pretty rough on just native, but it's 3060, so it's what we're getting. We'll let it run through this. We'll see what the results are and kind of go from there. Averaged 52 frames per second, which is crazy because it actually averaged 60 frames per second before when I was testing this, but it wasn't running correctly. So OBS is definitely eating up some power there. CPU averaging 152 frames per second seems really low, but the GPU at 52. So let's hop into a game and see what we can find. So it does look like we're running in that 50-60 range on the FPS. It's not horrible, but my gameplay's horrible. So, we got that going for us. Yep, that was good. It's very stuttery. The 60 frames per second feels like a lie. Oh, we lost. Definitely playable, averaging the mid 50s, mid 60s on the FPS there. So we did all right. GPU maxed out 99% the entire time. CPU in like the 30 to 40% range. So we're definitely GPU bound, but it's playable. It's doing good. So let's swap this out, get the Titan in there, and see how we go. All right, so we are up and running in Time Spy on the GTX not even RTX, GTX Titan X. It's the Pascal edition. So we'll see how this thing runs. We'll compare this to the 3060. We'll do the same thing, play some Black Ops, and see if the Titan X is still a viable card here in 2025. So 8662, that's pretty well right on par with what the 3060 did. So hey, this could be a contender. Let's hop into some Black Ops and see what we find out. All right, so we're running 1080p, no frame gen, no upscaling, no nothing. Just the solid performance of the card at 1080p. It looks like we're going to be pretty dang close to what the 3060 was doing, if not better. Survey says 58, so we're 2 lower. So render resolution 1088. Should be 1080, but 2 FPS lower. I mean, it didn't look like it was going to be that big of a difference. They were all throughout the entire thing. It was running basically the same. So we are in a match. No upscaling, no nothing. Everything is running about 50, 60, getting up to the 70 sometimes, depending on what all is going on. So it's doing good. It's holding its own against the 3060. So yeah, I mean, totally playable. We did. Hey, look at me! It's kill cam. We're running 60 frames per second. Everything was running smooth. Didn't really have any issues. Some of the times you get some Molotovs and some other stuff going in there, and this is without any kind of frame gen or anything like that. So yeah, I'll take it. So benchmark did great when we were running with let's see, 112 frames per second. That's with FSR frame gen. That's with image scaling for quality. So yeah, we're running pretty good. So yeah, I mean, we're basically on par with a 3060. Let's try out Fortnite and see how it does with the GTX Titan X. All right, so we are dropping into Fortnite, running 90, 100-ish FPS. Not bad at all. Let's see how it looks when we play. Ah, 22nd. They were better than me. Whatever. It is what it is. But yeah, Fortnite ran great. No problems. 100 frames per second on this Titan GTX. So yeah. Our latency is in the trillions upon trillions. But I think it's just because it's loading shaders. Alright. So we are only running about 50 frames per second. But does it look fine? Yeah. I mean, realistically, it looks fine. We'll see how it does once we get into like some heavy combat areas. But as of right now, it definitely looks like, I mean, the look of the game looks very 45 frames per second range. Like the graphics don't look nearly as good as it does like on some of the other systems that I played it on. Look at that. We won a game. That was great. Never done that before in this. So yeah, but the GTX Titan is doing it. So if you realistically, if that was all you could come across, you could be playing on a GTX Titan right now and playing the game. So far, it's been playing everything we've thrown at it. Of course, like Fortnite and Marvel Rivals isn't too terribly demanding. Same with Call of Duty. None of those are terribly demanding, but they're all playing running native. So if we were running frame gen stuff like that, DLSS, all that kind of fun stuff, we could be doing probably a little bit better. But right now, it's just running. So yeah, the Titan X, at least the Pascal one, is running basically the same as a 3060 when it comes to native running. They both have 12 gigs VRAM, stuff like that. So you kind of expect it to not run out of VRAM like some of the 8 gig cards would. But the thing with the GTX Titan was it was $150 used, where 3060 is going to run you at least $200. But yeah, if you can find a Titan locally in your area for dirt cheap on Marketplace or something along those lines, by all means, pick it up. They're more than likely going to stop driver support for it this year, from what I heard. So there is that, where the 30 series is going to get driver updates for a while longer. But did it play everything that we threw at it? Yeah. Did we only get 45 frames per second Marvel Rivals? Still totally playable. The Titan GTX still just holding out strong on these old like 10 series cards. So I can't complain. It's been a fun test. It's gonna go to its home with my buddy here soon. So it was fun while it lasted. But would I build like a cheap PC with it? No, it's huge. The thing takes a 8-pin plus a 6-pin, and the card's just ginormous. Could I get something that runs less power and gets the same amount of graphics and FPS and stuff like that? Yeah, the 3060 would do that. But if it's all you could get, it's still a good card in these days.